Hello and welcome. Welcome to episode 9 of my ongoing tutorial video series for Starfield. And as always, it is about creating mods. And today I want to continue on the subject of scripting with Papyrus. And for that, I'm just going to hop right in after I corrected some of the mistakes I made in past videos and wanted to show you something that was specifically requested. And for that, we're going to go in our development folder, and someone was asking how to deal with specific namespaces so that you can compile scripts in specific namespaces. Okay, so because as you can see, my Caprica compilation auto compiler, let's just call it an auto compiler bug made by SKK50, is set up so that it will compile pretty much every single script that I copy paste into the command section here, test script.psc, and then it would compile that. So usually what I do is just copy paste it like that, and then enter psc. And as you can see, source, that is what we are having here. Source. Okay, it's importing from source, it's outputting to source, and the script path, the actual script path of which reflects the Starfield data folder, so where the scripts are ending up. Okay, that's what the script path is saying. I have that all in one folder for convenience reason, which makes it more comfortable for me to compile individual scripts, but it's probably not very efficient if you want to compile a lot of scripts at once. But I never did that actually, or rarely ever did that. I did it like that I had to compile all the scripts that I have inside here. So basically I would compile single scripts. So, and namespaces means, if we go into review the Starfield MISC folder in the script section, this is the script, the root script folder, I'd name it, and fragments, that's already a specific namespace. Okay, fragments, packages, that's all namespace. That's just I don't know why it is called like that, but that's how it's called. Okay, namespaces. So basically in Papyrus location, it is meant in which folders things are inside. So, and I give you another example here on one of the mods I'm using, and I think Deadly Hazards, hazard loose file, as you can see, scripts, Deadly Hazard. This is a namespace, okay? So, because you know from previous videos that I would always put my scripts into the root script folder, and I'm not using namespaces, because I'm just used to it from Skyrim, and I never changed that because I absolutely did not see a reason to do so, and it just makes things more complicated for me when I'm using Caprica to compile, so I never used it. Okay, so that's about the understanding of namespaces. And how do you set up the auto compiler to use namespace? Well, you have to just put in the specific folder succession here. Okay. If we go back to the root source development script folder, then you can see we have I have a fragments folder here, and I have a quests folder, and that's where my specific namespaced scripts are inside, and that is the Red Mile script. Okay, that is dealing with a Red Mile, the whole scene when it's opening the door and when May is going to her microphone to announce you and stuff like that, you know. And yeah, basically that's what this names, and you see, and basically I just copy pasted this one, gave it a descriptive name, so it's quest fragment, Caprica compiled quest fragment, and then I just changed the script path, okay, where it should find the specific script. And then I can execute it from here, and then I just say, okay, I don't need to define any specific subfolders, you know, I can just enter the script name here, and then it will compile it inside this, as you can see, okay? And for sure, when you put it into your game folder, that's not where it's going to end up. It's supposed to be ending up in that specific namespace, which is fragments quest. There you have it. That's where I'm having it inside my game, okay? So, that's about namespaces. That's very important, or I don't say it's very important, but it's something that you need to know when you are dealing with namespaces and scripts and papiers and whatnot. And let me just quickly remove that from my list. The next topic would be doing the taxes mod, but I can still promise that we will do this today, because I want to address some mistakes I've made in previous videos, and I first have to look up. I'm quickly going to log myself out, but I'm gonna be back. Give me a minute, please. Yeah, I'm back. So, and how this is going to work now is we're going to jump into specific videos that I figured, or someone told me, man, you made a mistake there, which can sometimes happen, you know. Nobody's perfect. And I just want to correct that. And the first video, the first mistake is in episode 6, when I was showing you how to create a new copy of a object reference in the world. And I was saying that,
but that's just a minor, so that's just the information for you, that whenever you duplicate or use a reference as template and it has that location ref type, be aware that you cannot remove it without potentially breaking the game, because if there's a record missing in one of your plugins, it can crash.
Yeah, so the reason why I was mistaking that was that not because I was uncertain, but because I was confusing it up with other things, I'd say. Long story short, of course, you can remove that specific record here. You can remove it because you created a completely new reference to a completely new object in the world, and it is not related to the copy that you to the template that you took it from. And so it's not a problem. I have a guess why I was saying that, because when I'm producing videos, everything is happening so fast, and sometimes you just and you have to think about how English isn't my native language, and you know, you just at one point you confuse things up. And that's probably what happened here. So long story short, yeah, you can remove those records without a problem, and when you are creating new objects. That's not true for edits, okay? If you edit a world object, and if you just copy and override and want to edit this world object, do not remove those specifically location or linked references. You do not want to remove them, because it can potentially crash your game, but most certainly it will screw up any script or whatever, any function or any feature that is referencing this specific reference type here, okay? So, and we're gonna cut out again. I'm gonna search for the next continue mistake in the same video with, by the end of the video.
Then we have the notch decorator ref, which is my actual mod. And the console one isn't there. But that's what you do.
Okay, so I was showing you in-game what you have to, how it looked like, and I believe when I was making that video, I was testing various instances of the mod, and there were supposed to be 4 activators, I believe. And what happened here is, and it's not necessarily a mistake I made, but I found it important to point it out in this video right now. What happened here is, I did not enable the plugin that we created during that tutorial. You know, remember how I said that in a previous video? That's very important, because often I would mess up things for myself because I completely forgot to enable the plugin in Mod Manager or plugins text enabler manual activation, whatever you use. That's important. Never forget that when you are, and it's also true once the creation kit is going to be released. This happens sometimes, you know. Just want to make you aware of this could potentially be happening. And okay, so for the next one, we need to listen again.
Activate the actual function to what I'm doing in the game by pushing the in the quest script. And the reason why we do that is, even with the creation kit, it's more complicated to address the properties that I defined here than in a quest. The quest has a more global approach. Inside a quest script, you can more globally and more easily address all the form instances we have in the game, okay? All the forms that you see here.
Okay, so, and why was I pointing that one out? The first thing here is important to understand the current environment that we are working with. And by environment, I mean Xedit. See how it's structured? It's very inconvenient, and I don't mean, excuse me, Elminster, don't feel offended, but you know what I'm talking about, I hope. It's a little bit more complicated if you have to go through all those tabs here and read and set it up and have to put in the right conditions and all that stuff. All that stuff is much more convenient in the creation kit because you can drag and drop and you can have multiple screens. I'm not even sure, maybe you can have that in Xedit. I haven't tried before. And that's basically what led to the mistake I've made here, because actually the quest script is not necessarily the best variant to address the actor and its target. Okay, so for that you have to also understand how we interact with the world and how we register specific stuff. And I believe in episode 8 I already addressed creation kit remote register. Register for remote event. So what means a remote event? So every script function, and I'm gonna show that off again in the default file. Every script function has its native, how do I say it? Native mother script. I don't know what, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. To favorites, misclicked, has its native mother script. Okay, so actor is a mother. I don't exactly know how you name them. I'm calling them mother script due to lack of better terminology, and object reference is a mother script, you know, and quest is a mother script. And what does that mean? They have all the functions inside that are specific to that are native to this specific form type, okay? Which interact with native code, so with the actual Starfield exe, which is compiled in the exe, you know? You know how it works. So we have 3 instances of interactors here. We have the UI, we have the Papyrus environment, and we have the native code compiled inside the exe. And all those 3 instances will interact with each other. And for mod authors, for us, Papyrus is the one that we are using to mod the game. You can also code native code and use DLL plugins. I addressed that in past videos already. But that's the main player for us, I'd say, is Papyrus. And as I said, every mother script, in that case the actor script, has its native function. And if you want to remote register something, it means that you remote register a native to the actor file. And I'm taking this for example. If you want to use it in a quest, this function at passive affinity inside the quest, you would need to remote register for that event. Even though I'm not sure if you can actually remote register this function. Maybe you can only remote register events, I'm not sure. Okay, so on dying, let's take on dying. You can remote register the event on dying inside the quest environment, okay? Because, you know, when we are building scripts, what we are doing is we extend those scripts from base scripts, mother scripts, okay? So if we have the quest script, and it always says extends quest, okay? And then you have the player alias extends the reference alias script. And then you have the perk fragment, and it extends the perk script, okay? That's the thing that you need to understand, that you have native functions which are native to a specific extension class, and then you have not native functions used in foreign, let's name it foreign, in outside environments. Then you have to remote register them, okay? So, and let me, okay, so that's not, there we have it. So self register for remote event, the player ref on player load game, okay? Even though I'm having issues with actually implementing it right now, but that's probably a personal issue here, because other coders are telling me, yeah, it's perfectly fine. But in my experiences right now, it does not work perfectly fine. I have yet to figure out why this is happening, but that's a different topic. I just want to show off register for remote, okay? So understand the native a script type and the not native script type. So if you take, what was it? Let's search for it. On player load game. There we have it. See, it's a native event inside the actor mother script, but it's not native in a quest script. So you have to register for remote. Okay? And then you just basically use the same name that you have here, and you have to register it on the player in that case. If you would register a quest script inside the actor, a quest function inside the actor, that would be different here. That would be filled with the name of the quest. Okay? So, and now I need to review the video because I don't even know what I was trying to tell you here with correcting the mistake.
The quest has a more global approach.
Yeah, so specific about addressing the interaction of you, the player, with the world. For that, actually, the best way to do it is either a perk fragment or a magic effect. And I can tell you why. Because a magic effect, if we go into a spell, magic effect is basically just where you define what the spell is supposed to be doing. So the whole mechanic is inside the magic effect, and the spell is just defining the magic effect so that you can maybe, as example, use more than one instance of a magic effect on a spell. That's the actual spell mechanic is happening on a magic effect. So, but in a spell or in a magic effect, I'm not even sure here right now. You can, yeah, probably a bad place to show that off. You can magic effect. No, magic effect. You can define a. See, that's what I'm already, what I was already trying to tell you. There's a lot of obfuscated stuff here. Would be much more easy in Creation Kit. I would instantly know where I have to search, and Xedit, it's a little bit more complicated. So, but long story short, somewhere in the spell or magic effect, you can define someone who's executing the spell and a target of the spell, okay? And the same goes for a perk. You can define as condition the one who's having the perk, and you can define a target. And that's why it is better to use anything related to the player interacting with the world. You can, however, use the quest, because one specific advantage of the quest is that it will only execute, or let's say more controllable, execute on specific instances or conditions that you want to apply. Okay, so a player alias, for example, if you use a lot of reference player aliases from multiple mods, this will slow but steadily bring down the performance of your game, simply because a player alias, you have to think about that the player already is burdened with a lot of script interaction, and if you put everything on the player alias, at one point it will crumble. This doesn't happen in a quest, because a quest is more specific and more instancing, you know? So, long story short, everything has its advantages and disadvantages, but that was a thing that I wanted to correct here. The quest is not necessarily the best choice. It's one choice out of multiple ways to skin the cat to address interaction of the player with the world, okay? So, yeah, let's find the next mistake, which is, again, not necessarily a mistake, but not entirely correct instruction out, because I left important things out, and it's about setting up a script. One thing, if you run a script, a quest that's sole purpose is executing your script that you just enabled, it's important that you also set the flags correctly here. Not only start game enabled, but also starts enabled. Okay, so it start game enabled, make sure that it will run when you start a new game, okay? And starts enabled, make sure it will always start enabled, because you also can make it, if you leave that flag out, you can, and start game enabled, you can activate it through a script or so. And it's very important here that you set it to run once. And the reason for that is, some people may think if you put it on run once, it will execute the script only once. That's not what it does, okay? That's not what it does. It means that the quest will run once, but keep running, okay? Run once does not mean I execute all of my script functions one time and then I stop. A quest never stops unless you make it stop, okay? Via script or via a certain flag setup or condition setup, okay? A quest will never stop to run unless you make it. So, and why do you want to set it to run once? Because specifically, and I'm not exactly sure that this is true, because I want to point out here that I have a lot of problems, and I was discussing that with about 2 or 3 persons in personal, and we also and I also made it a topic at least 3 or 4 times on the Discord. I'm having problems setting up a player alias or a remote environment inside my quest script to execute on player load game. Okay? And I have to admit it, it's probably, I already said it, it's probably a personal problem, but that's something that because I can't be sure, I haven't found a way to fix that for my specific case. I have a couple of people telling me, yeah, it's true, it doesn't work, but I also have other people telling me it does work, okay? So, and I want to point out here, I have tested this inside my player alias script, okay? It's not necessarily the CBM script, I don't know where I've tested it. I believe it was in GWI. See, oh yeah, so I'm just using, okay, so it's also on the GWI. So I'm just using on init, on player load game, and it's not necessarily about the remote register of the on player load game. It's specifically about this one, because that one doesn't need to be registered. It should auto run under every circumstance. It can't fail, okay? I really mean it like that, okay? That can potentially fail here. The quest remote register of on player load game can potentially fail if you just do shit up, if you mess it up, if you don't do it right, okay? Because what's happening here is when the quest inits, when the quest starts, or whatever, and I already addressed that in the last video, one time only. This can happen one time only. Then it will go to the init function, and then it will, and I'm gonna address the timer as well later, then it will register itself for the on-player load game correctly for the player reference, which is an actor type. And I already said that. That's a native function of actor. So long story short, this is exactly how it's supposed to be done, okay? So, when the quest inits, it registers for that remote event so that this will work. And as you can see, I'm using the quest name, and usually you would use this one here. Okay, and why do I use the quest name is right now because I'm testing things, and someone, and I don't want to say who did it, said to me, man, you set it up wrong. You are supposed to use the script name. And I'm at this point, I'm so confused because you would use the script name if I say it like that. Okay, because I can show you what I'm talking about here. If we go to the source scripts again and we do script object, let's open it. Then we do on player load game. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Wait, I'm in the script object? Ah. Okay. See, another mistake here. And I just want to resolve that right away, why I made this mistake. Because on my quest, I named it a quest to find a solution for this problem. I was going through various instances, and if we various sources, and however you want to name it, on player load game to solve that issue. Okay, so as you can see, it exists natively for actor, for the reference alias, for the active magic effect, and for the script object. See, that's Fallout. That's, by the way, in the Fallout Papyrus. And I hope someone with skill, looking at you, SKK, see what I find here. This doesn't exist here. It should be inside here, but it isn't. Okay? The event doesn't exist for script object. And please correct me what is wrong on my argumentation here, but I think it's supposed to be inside here, so that it is a native to script object, okay? And I'm gonna conclude that, and Robert, you just have to follow me what is running wrong here. And I wanna go further. Let's go to another models mod, which I reviewed just because I couldn't find a solution to that issue. The simple needs mod. See, in the active magic effect. Magic effects, I'm not, it's a personal preference why I'm not using magic effects a lot. That's personal preference. And see, so in the quest script of simple needs. We have a player ref as script object register. So, and now I'm gonna drop the bomb because I was not only testing my own mods for this stupid on-player load game. I was testing with other mods. I was specifically setting up extra namespace auto compilers, and they would always. And what my research, what it brought was, what it pointed out was that the on-player load game would work one time only, all the time, no matter if you put it as remote register on the quest, as a script object, or as recommended by the one that I don't want to name here. It didn't matter if I do it as script object, okay, or if I do it as actor, or I just leave that away and change this to this, or as you can see, because we have this on player load game, we also have, as I said already, you have it as a reference alias, and in Starfield it exists as a reference alias, and also inside the alias script. If I was registering inside the alias script, which I don't need because it's native inside the reference alias, so as you can see, you do not need to register it. On player load game on the alias will always execute. That's the normal behavior. And then I'm moving to the quest script. As you can see here, I'm executing init on the quest script. It didn't work, no matter what. However, I was testing in different mods, in different native environments, on different scripts, on, I don't know, I was probably testing for 10 or 12 hours until I got so mad I just dropped the whole shit, you know, because it really drove me mad. It just didn't work. So in my research, what always happening was that on player load game was executing one time, and then it never did again. And how did I test that? Basically, what I did was putting in a debug notification and was going into the game. And the first time I loaded the game, I would get that message. And then I saved the game and got out of the game and got into the game and loaded the save again. And it would never execute that notification, no matter what. So, okay, that probably was longer than I was supposed to be doing it, but that's just information that I want to point out at, and maybe one of you guys can help me out on this, because I absolutely don't know why this is happening, and the reason why I don't know this is happening is because it totally shouldn't, okay? As I already said, maybe I fucked it up in the native quest in here somewhere, because it can happen if you don't register it correctly, and then you put the mod in your game, and then it wouldn't act afterwards like it should. Because on Quest init is only firing once, and on player alias is only firing once. But I have to also point out the player alias I only set up later when I already had the mod active in my game. Okay, because I was trying to find a solution for that, and it still didn't work. Okay, so as I said, even if I mess up the on player load game in the quest, it doesn't work for the player alias. And as you can see, yeah, I'm talking to you, SKK, or whoever has the skills and brief me on what I'm doing wrong. It's perfect. It's done the way it's supposed to. It's optional. It's allow reserved. That's important for. That's something that I will address in a future video because it's a little bit more advanced. This is how you need to set up the alias so that it will work properly. And for a reference alias, it needs to be an object reference. You cannot have the actor here, because you could also set up a unique actor. You need to have the object reference, the player reference here, okay? Optional and allowed. And just for testing, yes, I tested allowed ad. I tested allow disabled. All of that stuff, I tested everything, and virtually everything. I've set it up here correctly as well. See? That's all correct. So, and again, even if the register in the quest fails, this is not supposed to be failing. Never. When the quest is running. It doesn't matter if you start a new game or if you put that alias script into the quest while you have the mod already installed on your save game. It doesn't matter. The moment you put this script on your environment, on your mod, this is always supposed to be loading, working, but it doesn't, okay? So, and as I said, I already addressed that enough, and the reason why on-player load game is so important for us mod creators, it's very important to have a reliable way to forward changes in updates. Let's take that as an example, okay? And the best way for me is to use, or let's say the most convenient way for me to use here is an on-player load game reference alias, then just point to the script and do my shit, okay? SKK recently pointed out, okay, you do not want to do that on the player alias. You can do that if you don't have a lot of player alias references, but you do not want to do this if you have, like, I don't know what number he specifically was talking about. But he said if you use a lot of mods and have a lot of reference to the player, you don't want to register, you don't want to use the on-player load game on the reference alias. It's more reliable and more performant, I'd say, on the quest. Okay, that's what he was pointing out. But long story short, no matter where you use it, you can also use it in a magic effect, actually, as I already pointed out. Okay, you can use it as an on an actor script, on a reference alias, on an active magic effect, and on a script object, even though it doesn't exist inside the script object. And I may confuse that up. Maybe it doesn't have to be a native function of script object. I'm not sure. But all those things that I just show you lead to assumption that something is fishy about the whole on-player load game. Because another how do I say it? Another reason why I'm saying this here is, if we go to the script search and on player load game, okay, so that is a batch file from SKK to search for script instances. So as you can see, I'm using it in virtually any of my scripts just for testing purposes. At one point it will work, hopefully. So, and there you go. It's in the active magic effect. It's in actor, it's in ref collection alias, it's in reference alias. Okay, that's the mother scripts that the function is native to. And aside from that, it is used only in my scripts and only in 2 scripts of Bethesda, okay? Possibly inoperative debug function player, and I don't want to browse those scripts, but because it takes already too long, my argumentation here. And why I'm showing you this, in Fallout 4 we have at least, I don't know, at least 20, 25 or 30 scripts of DLCs mostly where this function is used. And that's my guess here. Why do they not use that on-player load game function? Because it's broken, okay? Correct me on this, Scrivener. I'm specifically pointing out you and SKK because I was discussing with you guys on the Discord. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's my research. That was what my research, my long time, and I spent a lot of time trying to research that. That's what I figured out, I'd say, okay? So, and now I need to...
The script, it says remove now because it's already added, and then you will get that defaulted, and then you... what we have to deal with recombines bullshit in the center of...
Oh yeah, so that was the flagging of the quest. That's why I got distracted. But yeah, it was important for me to point that out, because maybe one of you cracks can help me out on this. So, okay, so start game enabled, starts enabled, and run once. Because if you do not flag it with run once, that quest, it may be corrupt your scripts. And it could potentially lead to exactly the problem that I just said, which now shouldn't be a problem. Just want to point that out. Because if you later flag that quest as run once, it will not create that. It should fix that issue at hand, you know. But I'm not sure. Maybe that's the actual reason why I have that personal issue, because I didn't flag it run once. So that's very important. Flag it starts enabled, start game enabled, and run once, because it will overlap remote registers, you know, and also timer registers will overlap if you do that. I can't exactly brief you on the technical details here, but because I'm not a professional, you know, I would probably have the correct terminology if I would be a professional, but I'm not. So I can only tell you how I think what is happening. So if you do not flag run once, things can potentially overlap and break in a quest script. Okay, don't confuse that up with the things that are not attached to the quest, like a perk fragment script or so, you know. So that's very important. Next mistake. That was a long one. Excuse me, but I had to point that out. Okay, next one. Let's watch again.
Personally, and other people would probably disagree, but for me personally, the best way to set up scripts that are related to the player is using a player alias. Never do that. Okay, I'm going to show you something. Never go to the player, actor, and put a script on him. Okay, I mean Bethesda does that, and it's Bethesda. They can do that. It's their game. Okay, but never do that. Do not use the player. And I'm probably some of you already figured out. Yeah, but the unofficial patch team does that as well. They already touched the player. Yeah, they can do so. First, they know what they're doing, and second, they are fixing bugs.
Okay, so not a mistake, but maybe partially wrong. Let's put it like that. And the reason why I was focusing on telling you that is, and why I was arguing like Bethesda can do it and the community patch can do it. The reason why you do not want to interact with a player at all, changing anything in the player character in the actor form, or putting scripts on him, is the most important reason is it will create a lot of conflicts if everybody is doing it. And the player is a very sensible form. As I already said in a previous, 20 minutes ago in this video, the player is very sensible. Specifically, the player actor, okay? It's also sensible if you address him via too much reference alias, but less sensible, I'd say. But the specific actor player is very sensible. And mind the ID here, okay? It's 07, while the object reference is 14. But that actually isn't important to its sensibility. The player is very sensible, and if everybody is fiddling around with the player and editing him and adding scripts, it will, one, create a lot of conflicts, and even if you solve those conflicts, it will most certainly break your game and hamper the performance at one point. So do not touch the player. Don't do it. Find other ways. Use reference alias, use remote registers, use whatever you want, use magic effects. There's so many options that you can use to address the player. Don't address him directly. And why can Bethesda mess with it? That should be obvious. And why can the community patch mess with it? It should be less obvious, but also obvious, because you want to use, without exception, use the Starfield community patch. In past games, it was Arthmore's unofficial patch, which I'm not sure if he will make one for Starfield, because Starfield is very unpopular, and I sincerely hope this is going to change once the creation kit is released. But there's a couple of indicators that we not will have the same amount of mods and modders in Starfield, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they redecide, because a lot of mod creators already showed the white flag, I'd say, surrendered to the obvious flaws the engine in Starfield has. And no, I'm not talking about that guy that made Skyrim together, because one, he was not necessarily a milestone author, because he had a lot of conflicts, and he had basically what the guy did was creating multiple accounts to pirate native DLL code made by the script extender team, and he always made new accounts. And long story short, there was a lot of drama, a lot of trouble ongoing because of that guy, and he's not a milestone of the community, so you can basically just wash away what he was saying because he made a statement on Reddit. Just ignore him. There will be others replacing him. But the important mod creators, and obviously the script extender team is very important and was always very important for Skyrim and Fallout, some of them are not active. Some of them are not contributing to the same amount they did in Skyrim or Fallout 4. And obviously, I'm following the discussions on Reddit and Discord and whatnot. Long story short, you can tell Starfield is not very popular amongst authors. And there are various reasons, because there are probably also reasons that I don't want to address here, because they would be partially offensive, I guess. But I don't have any illusions. That's only the part that's only a part of the story, okay? And there are reasons that they continue to work on mods for Fallout and Skyrim, but they don't do Starfield. And it's not the whole woke thing that we have ongoing and the whole battle between left and right. It's nothing political. It doesn't have anything to do. That's just a how do we say in German? In German we say Vorwand, okay? That's not the real reason. It doesn't matter if, for the modder or mod creator community, it doesn't matter how the base game is, because you can virtually turn it into anything you want. And Skyrim, as well as Fallout 4 in vanilla state, is just as barebone and has its bugs and flaws just as well as Starfield. So that's only part of the story, okay? And yeah, I got distracted again. Sorry, my ADHD brain. But what did I want to point out here?
Okay, so that's totally valid for them to touch the player, but you...
Oh, the player, yeah. So, again, don't touch him, leave him alone. Very important for any efforts you are doing. Do not mess around with the player. Next one. That is an actual real mistake.
Condition. Okay, the player has the perk, and then it will interact. And then you define the fragment here. Keep the index at 2. That's also specifically right now like that, because I was trying the fragment index 1, it doesn't work. Start with 2. I'm not sure why that is, I can't tell you, but that's just a limitation we have to deal with right now because of no official rules. Start with fragment index 2 and go on from that.
Okay, so as you can tell, I was trying to find an explanation why it didn't work. And I just pointed out that you want to keep that fragment index and use the fragment entry 02. Because it didn't work, okay? But the first thing important here, it does perfectly work, okay? And the reason why it didn't work for me was because I douched it up. I just did it wrong, okay? Yeah, okay? I did it wrong. I still don't know what I did wrong, but I have a better guess right now because and again, I don't want to criticize you here, Alminster. That's just a general flaw of Exit. It's not the same level of convenience as we have on the Creation Kit, and things can get confused up if you are not concentrated, I'd say. You know, you need to spend a little bit more concentration, so it's totally up on me here that I confused it up, and I still, as I said, I still haven't figured out why, but you can perfectly use any fragment index you want, okay? So basically, this one is this one. Those numbers need to be the same. Fragment index 0, fragment index 2, it doesn't matter. And I haven't found out what was the issue because I didn't specifically search for it, to be honest. Because when things are working and don't break anything, and of course, play on load game is the sole exception for me right now. That's the only thing that really doesn't work, no matter what I'm doing. But yeah, I addressed that enough already. I haven't figured it out because I always say to myself, okay, don't change anything and don't fiddle around with it. If it is working like intended, just keep it like that, okay? It doesn't break anything, and why fiddle around with it? I do spend some time on bug fixing or making things better, but you can only do that so much, you know? At one point you're just mad, and then you say, okay, fuck yourself. I don't want to do that anymore. But long story short, if we go to SKK, our super skilled modder, you can see you can perfectly use any fragment you want, okay? And all those numbers here. I mean, you see, you need to understand what I'm going through here. I actually have the image of the Creation Kit in mind. And I know where those positions in the Creation Kit are. But in Xedit, it's not always obvious. So you always have to... It's like, how should I describe it? It's like I have two monitors shown in my brain, and the one monitor is showing me the image of the Creation Kit, and the other one is trying to process the information in Xedit. Okay, so long story short, the reason why I wrongly stated that you cannot use any other fragment index or fragment entry number here is because I simply confused it up, and as I said, language barriers and all the stress, I'd say, that you are having when you're making... It was just a mistake. It's wrong. You can use any fragment. You just need to make sure in Xedit that you correctly set it up. Okay? So, next one, not a mistake, but something which I verified to myself by research.
So, whenever you execute the key, it will say in the quest script, and you define it here. And that's how you define a script property. Exact name, without PSC. Then you say quest script, which is the... incitation inside this script here, okay, is game get form from file 2090. And that's important. That's also no creation engine available specific. That's important here. 2090 has to be 82A. If you have any other, and I'm having another ID here, okay, it will not work. It will not respond to that ID. So 2000, I'm not sure how that came to be. Maybe you have to ask Team Xedit why that happened, but I can guess why this is, simply because we do not have the creation engine and we cannot dynamically add IDs or cannot correctly add IDs. So there was probably a consensus that you say, okay, 2090, it's probably hex related. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have any insight in that, how it works exactly.
Yeah, so it's not like I was saying that it is. It doesn't have anything to do with xEdit. It's just generally how you address an ID when you are using getFormFromFile function. Okay, you can use the full hex number, like it will look something like that: 0 0 blah 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 blah. Okay, 8 numbers after the 0, something like that, or F6, something like that. It will look like that, and basically you just need the last 4 digits if you define the game getFormFromFile before. Okay, so if you have the plugin name, you only need the last 4 digits, and in this case, then the hex digits, then you would define it like that, I'd say. 0 0 0 0, whatever number it is in hex, okay? That would be enough. You don't need more than that. It will automatically address, and that doesn't work if you use getForm, okay? For example, it only works if you use game getFormFromFile. You only need those 4 digits. And now, why we are not using hex and hex ID here is because it actually converts it to hex. The function itself converts it. Where do I have it? Yeah. So if you go to 2090, put it in here. So there you have 828. Okay, you see. And that's specific, the one that I was using in the video, 828. Okay, so not a mistake, just a verification with partially wrong statements that xEdit or anything else would be responsible, or that they made a consensus on that. They don't have any consensus on that. It's just something that the function is doing. Okay, the next one, not a mistake, but a way for you. If you, for example, I don't know of a way how it could happen, but maybe at one point it could happen. Another way of making sure updates on your mods will work is using a a timer. Okay, so you, wherever you want in any of your scripts, you can start a timer, and the timer will call the init function. Okay. And as you can see, I'm using the timer to make sure that maybe at one point the on-player load game. And I want to point that out, because you can see what I'm doing here. I'm starting the timer. I'm also calling init from the alias script. So in my game right now, it has been executed at least one, this function here, either from the player alias or inside my quest. Then it will call the timer. The on-timer event will run the on-init, and then it will repeat itself. As I addressed in the last video, I created a timer loop of real-time 300 seconds, which equals 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, it will check if I have those perks, yeah? And will add them if I don't, okay? And will then execute other functions, which basically is, we're inside my newly released mod, the Outpost Overhaul. Just released it yesterday. Oh. Nexus is having issues. Just released it yesterday here. Yeah, so basically that's what it does, okay? That's a way how you can make sure that if at one point the on-player load game is failing, to whatever reason, the timer does the job. The problem here is, because I have it running to check only every 5 minutes, is that new changes will, obviously, when a mod user is installing the new update, it will only forward its changes after 300 seconds. And you don't want to put that down to 1 or 10 seconds. 10 seconds is maybe sane already, or 5 or 3 is also sane. But don't put it anywhere near 1 second or 0.1, so that it will execute every second or so. So, because if it repeatedly executes, it will hamper your performance. 5 minutes is okay. It doesn't interfere with anything performance-wise, I'd say. And it's not a good solution, but that's what I was doing to make sure that updates are forwarded. And I want to point it out again. This timer should make perfectly sure that this is correctly registering, like you advised me to. The guy whose name I'm not going to say out here right now, you said I should do it like that. And the timer should perfectly register it. And I'm executing the on-player load game in the quest script exactly like you briefed me to do. It doesn't work, because for testing, it should already fire. I remove that and it doesn't work, okay? Doesn't matter. Let's conclude this topic here. So, as I said, use a timer. If everything else fails, a timer will always work. At least to my research right now. That's about it. And some people will probably now complain, man, that video doesn't have any purpose. What the F did you try to tell us, to teach us here? Maybe not as much as the other videos, but still I had to address those things. Because you have to understand here, things are new in Starfield. They are not necessarily very different from Fallout or Skyrim, but they are different. That's the first important thing here. Then, for me doing tutorial videos under a real-time condition with language barriers and things that we only partially know and things that didn't work like they are supposed to be working. And if you mix all that information up and try to work with it, mistakes are going to happen. So I felt it important to correct some of those mistakes and readdress some of the topics that I was talking about in previous videos. Yeah, and probably some people say, man, you were supposed to do that text script. I know, but first, in my defense, this mod is not going to happen anytime near, simply because, and that's also another thing I want to point out here, simply because I have, how do I say it? I have a list of priorities I want to do, you know? Or I need to do. I'd say I need to do. And this list is still full of quality of life tweaks, fixes in the game. So there are so many not quality of life things in Starfield that I want to address first. And then there are also things that I need to fix in mods that I released. And it's a dynamic process, you know. Sometimes I would create a mod and fiddle around with it, and things didn't work like they are supposed to. Because I have a blockade, or because of the issues I mentioned just a minute ago. And then I would just lay it aside. And I know, man, you can't release a mod in an alpha and beta state. First, I can, because I can, okay? I can do whatever the fuck I want. And second, I want to point out here, I'm playing with those mods. Ah, yeah, and that's another very important thing, yeah? I'm playing with those mods. You're not alone. If you download a mod made by me, and you figure out, man, this is somehow buggy, yeah, I play with that mod as well, okay? As you can see, I'm using the mod as well. And why I do that? Because I'm trying to fix it. You're not alone, okay? I don't release bullshit on the Nexus and then just say, okay, live with that shit that I've uploaded, you know? Sometimes I don't even know that I have created bugs. Sometimes you think things would work perfectly, but they don't. And there's so many reasons that some things can go wrong, and the more complex a mod is, the bigger the issues could potentially be, but we're moving forward with experience. And now the thing that I would actually say, what I see a lot, and do not make that mistake, that's just a recommendation. Of course you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's just a recommendation from my side. How do you mod, or what should be your mod creation philosophy? And I want to argue about the argumentation that you only create. Some people say, okay, creating mods for Bethesda games is more fun than playing the game. So first, for me personally, that's complete nonsense, okay? I would never mod a game that I don't play, because what purpose does it have? What motivators should there be for me to do that, you know? I don't understand why this should be a motivator. And fame, financial reasons, no, I'm well employed. You know how many I'd need to create. I actually did the math on that one time. I need to create, I think, about 40, well, let me calculate again here, to equal the same amount of money I get once a month through my job. I would need to produce, wait, $4.5 million downloads per month. Okay? I would need to produce 4.5 million downloads a month, and that is only if I would take a 100% share of the donation system on the Nexus. And so that option, fame, those two reasons, fame or motivators, those two motivators, financial reasons and fame, it doesn't work for me, okay? That's not the reason. So the reason why I create mods is because I play the game, and then I figure, okay, you can change that, you want to change that, you want to improve that, you want to have it differently, okay? That's the main reason. And now, let's get back to why I was starting that argument is, do not create mods and then just do something like this, yeah? Yeah? What is he doing? Wait for it. I hope I still have it in the console. Don't create mods. Yeah, no. So, don't create mods, go into a test cell, test your mod in the test cell, and then say, okay, everything is working fine. Okay? This can work for specific cases. You can do that for mods that you perfectly well aware know. I only need that testing environment here, okay? And you can produce save games for this so that you can... But my recommendation is always play the game while you are modding. That's what I wanted to say here, okay? Play the game, go on playing your game, just like you would normally play the game. Because there's so many reasons why you want a mod like this that you go on playing the game. The instance to test the game, to test your mod on a new game start, you can do that in the test cell. But how do you verify that your mod is working like intended and bug-free in an actual playthrough? So in the world an actual mod user is living in, because mod users usually only play the game with your mods. So how would you have an idea how their game is acting if you don't play the game? Okay, so that's just a recommendation from my side here. Play the game naturally. As you can see, I have, that's NG plus. I have 16 days, 7 hours in this save here. Okay, which is 240, 360, 384, 391. So almost 400 hours. Let's say 391 hours. Okay, NG plus 1. And as I said, play your game like always, and create your mods, put them in, because if you create a mod and have an ongoing game, you can also make you can already make sure that this game, that this mod is working as intended if you put it in an existing game, you know, because that's often a reason for issues on the mod user side, is that people are only testing their mods in a new game start environment. Don't do that, okay? Play the game naturally. Put in your game, put in your mod while you are playing the game, and then develop the mod around while you're playing the game. And if you have to, you can still use a test cell to do the start game enabled, or make a save where you skip the tutorial. SKK actually has a mod where you can do that and use that save to skip the tutorial, and then you can test under an actual new game start environment. That's just a recommendation, okay? Yeah. A lot of talks I figured today. Not a lot of, but it was a lot of mistake fixing, and I'm sorry, but it has to come to an end today, because that's another issue. I have limited time, okay? And yeah, because I have family, I have a job, I want to play the game, I want to create mods. I'm making this tutorial, so I have a lot of effort put in here, and I have to limit my time, and for me it's always a Saturday or Friday from 7 o'clock to up to at least to 9 o'clock at most, where I'm having time to set up those videos. But I'm not going to shrug you off without what's going to be on the horizon, and I promise the next video is Papyrus scripting specific only. I'm not going to talk bullshit, but I felt like, because that is episode 9, I want to conclude some things from the past. And as you can see, that's on the priority list somewhat high. My hotkey mod. That is my Fallout 4 hotkey mod. This is going to be a complete port, I'd say. As you can see, a lot of functions here, ambient music, autosave, radio, unequipped weapon, throwable, a sunglass shader, a weather configurator. It had detect corpse key, and I'm probably going to expand on that and make a detect mines, because I always have problems finding mines in Starfield. Toggle subtitles, and auto loot, external. Yeah, we don't have that mod yet in Starfield. Maybe in future we're going to have a reliable one. Summon follower, see? An actual immersive version. That's going to happen. Follower AI setup. See? Aggression, assistance, confidence. I'm not sure that those values exist for followers, but I'm going to figure. So that's one priority. And I'm going to read my to-do list here. Just gonna read it so that you understand, and I'm moving to my radio mod because I want to brief you through the script of it. It's in the build mod that I uploaded. Okay, but first I'm gonna read my list here. Landing on a planet should put you outside of the ship right away. And that's just a new thing that I'm working on because I'm using just recently installed a mod that made it so that automations when you are landing on the planets are completely sped up so that you do not see the animation, and I want to make it so that I'm starting outside of the ship. Then I want to fix on my on the mod that allows you to use the cutter to harvest from vents and seeps. I want to fix that you can no longer use them on activate. Ship power fix. Open door from terminal is on the list. The ventilator animation is on the list, so on my newly released mod, the ventilator doesn't have the twisting animation. I want to fix that. Then the cutter is supposed to be using ammo is on my list. Specific map markers for New Atlantis is on the list, specifically for traders, because I would always be spawning in points that force me to walk all across the map, and if you are already presented with loading screens galore, why not put map markers anywhere you can? Then I want to add more activators like a coffee and water maker to my build mod, and address quick trade to specialize some of the traders that I cannot address with a simple form list, like Serge, or how he is named in New Atlantis. Well, you know, because you can only trade with him once you have his quest fulfilled. And that's the things of priority on my list. And last but not least, I want to show you how I did the radio mod, and you can find the video on my channel where I'm showing off that radio, and it's basically just an on activate event, and then we have a menu. See? Maybe I'm going to go deeper in the next video. I'm probably going to do use that as an example to deepen your papyrus skills on the next video. See, we are building a message menu, and then you have the labels of the menu. Okay, and if we go to the mod, how does that look in game? Come on, image section. What was it again? Come on, that's how it looks. Okay, that's how it looks in game. See, red mild techno, neon techno, classical music, blah blah blah. There you have it. Red mild techno, neon. So that's a message, and that's how you call. We have the message property. That's how you call a message. Int menu button, radio config message show, and then you have if menu button is 0, do play music. Okay, we do the play music. Then we have our instance of the music track defined here, and it will play the music on that radio. Okay, so basically when I have put that radio thing in the world, this one, and I activate it, it will execute this it will execute my how do you actually name that? My if condition block here, and then it will open this, and then you can choose from those tracks, and then it will always initially stop the instance to make sure that the old radio tune is no longer playing, and then it will respond to the button press, and again do it just to be safe, you know, that it really quits. And then I'm defining the music tune, which is a var up here. Okay, then I define the actual music tune, which is a property in here that you have to fill in the quest. Is it actually a quest? No, it's an object reference on my activator. Where do we have it? Music radio, there you see, that's all the properties defined. Then it will say this vwise event music tune variable is this property, or this property, or this property. So basically, this definition here is this music track, okay? So when you press through the buttons, then it says music tune, this track, execute the function, and event instance. That's how you define a musical instance track so that you can later turn it off again. You need that to turn it off again. Then say music tune, No, the var, which is this property, play on me, the player, as object reference. And those are flags that we don't need. Okay? That's what it does. Stop instance, it goes here. Stop instance, event instance. There we go. There you have the reason why you need to define an instance so that you can make it stop. Because you cannot stop a revise event by just saying music tune, stop. This function doesn't exist. You have to use a stop instance. Okay? That's probably because you can have more than one instance, and it makes sure to stop one specific instance. And there's also a stop all instances function, I believe, but I don't want to review. And this here on workshop object removed event, it only makes sure that when I'm removing this from an outpost, this radio, it will stop the music it is playing right now, okay? Okay, that's all it does. So, that's at least something of script schooling here, and that's about it for today. I'm sorry I talked a lot, but I felt like it was important to address all those things to conclude the first 9 of, let's call it the first season, and episode 10 is going to be season 2, and from there, I don't want to say we're going to go advanced, but we are going not beginner anymore from there, okay? So we're going to do a little bit more sophisticated stuff, and we're actually going to write scripts, and yeah. Just, if you watched all of the 9 videos of that season, you have a solid foundation of various things to do, and you have some insight and background information. So, and that's all I wanted to do here, and from that you can work on with episode 10 on the next time. And I promise it's all about scripts the next time. My name is CrEaToXx. I wish you a nice weekend. Have a good day. I'm out. Goodbye.